Hi everyone, it's Mary McIntyre. Welcome back to my channel. I'm finally getting around to trying something that I first saw on Daniel Cooper's channel, and that was using abalone shells in resin. I saw his video on that, but I didn't realise that the abalone shells he was using were actually those that were designed for nail art, and it works out as a more economical way of buying them. And I found that out thanks to Claire at Claire's Crafty Corner trying this as well. So for a fairly reasonable amount of money, if I can find these I will link them in the description box below, but you basically get 12 different colours of abalone shell fragments. They're not like masses of each colour in there, but there's plenty there for doing like a few pendants. So looking forward to seeing how it turns out. Now, one thing that I really am not a fan of is doming the top with UV resin. Not because I don't think other people do a good job, but because I personally don't feel that I do a good job with that. So what I want to do is, in my pendant mould, I want to put a thin layer of clear resin first, put the abalone shells on top of that, hopefully minus any air bubbles, and I'll pack a fair bit in there, break little bits off and fill the gaps like I saw Daniel doing. Then I'm going to leave that overnight and then I will backfill it. Now, most of the videos I've seen since Daniel's video have used black resin as a backing for it, and that looks amazing, and there are some of the colours here that will look great with black, but I actually want to have a go with some with white as well. I make a lot of resin and stuff in black, and not everybody likes black, so I just want to try it with white and see how that turns out. So I'm going to be mixing up a really small amount of resin just to put a thin layer down in a few of these. I'm not worried about doing every single pendant on this tray, so I'm going to mix up probably 20 mils of resin, thereabouts. I'm using the JDiction resin. I'm nearly out of this, but I have ordered some more of the Let's resin stuff because I really liked that as well. I haven't found a resin that I love or hate at this point. I just, whatever's on offer, I buy it and I'm happy with the results. I've got some tweezers here and I've got some jewellery pliers just to help break some of these pieces up if necessary. I will have my respirator on, of course, while I'm doing the mixing. And these gloves are on about their 8th go round. Put a date in your diary. I actually remembered to order some more gloves today, and not only that, I ordered some in my own size. I know, radical. Imagine getting gloves that actually fit, that mean you have dexterity while you're working with resin. It's kind of strange. Yeah, alien concept. So yeah, that's quite a simple step for tonight, just that first layer in and then pop some shells on there and then back tomorrow to backfill them. So let's get started. So voiceover Mary, because I had my respirator on at this point. So I first of all wanted to put down a really thin layer of clear resin. So I was using my stick to just kind of push it to the edges, and you can see on the bottom that it had kind of shrunk away. So I wanted enough of a layer of clear that it didn't do that. So I just carefully went through and just added as little as I could get away with that was giving me full coverage. And then I kind of went over and just split the rest of the resin across all of the ones that I wanted to use. I popped the air bubbles with a flame, and then I started to very, very carefully place the abalone shells into the moulds. This took nearly an hour, so the film actually cut off because my phone exceeded the maximum file size, because I was being really careful and mindful about where to put them, trying really hard not to get bubbles on, but trapped underneath I should say, but it was so hard to actually get them to behave. So what started out with me placing them very carefully one by one kind of ended up in the end with me just kind of winging them in there, because even when I carefully placed them, the resin was shrinking them in and they were all pulling into the centre anyway. So there was just nothing I could really do about that, and I was very conscious that the resin was thickening up, and if I took too long to do this I would have ended up with a hot mess. So I was using 2 different colours in each one to begin with.
But quite honestly, when you've got them in a mould like this, it was really hard to see the individual colours the way that you can in the pack that they came in. So I was being super careful and took my time as best I could, but in the end I was just kind of dropping it in. The shells were pretty colourful on both sides, so I wasn't too concerned about that. Any that stuck together I was getting in with my awl and trying to separate them, and that pushed some of them deeper into the resin. I was worried about that, but it actually worked really well. So I'm kind of glad that happened. It gives it loads of depth, as you'll see in the finished result. So this was what they look like, ready to cure overnight before the next coat goes on.
It's the following morning and these are ready to backfill. I've been toying with the idea of whether to add mica powder to the white resin that I'm going to use for the white ones, and I've decided I'm actually going to brush the back of this with white, silver white mica, just so that I get a really lovely kind of shimmering quality. The last video I made where I used this on my moons, I thought the result was beautiful, and I think that'll complement the abalone shells really well. Some of the ones that have a more kind of bluish green tone, I'm going to do those in black. So that I'm going to have a look and decide which ones are going to be black, and I'm just going to put a bit of tape over them so that the mica doesn't fly off and land in it, because the static is a bit of a nightmare. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to tape off the ones that I don't want mica in, and then I'll be back. I've put sellotape over the ones that I want to be black and that I definitely don't want any mica powder to switch over. I'm thinking as well that on a couple of these I might use this really light pink with white resin, but just add that pink, so I think it will complement some of the colours in the shells really nicely. Still undecided. I'm going to start with the white and then go from there. So I'm just going to brush this. So it's absolutely pouring down, and the cars going past are so noisy, so really sorry about the background noise. So yeah, the brush is clean. I've given it a good wipe, so I'm just going to dip in and brush that onto the back here of all the ones that I want to be white. This is not colour shifting powder, it is just plain mica powder. I got this set of many colours of mica off Amazon ages ago. I'm going up the sides a little bit as well, so that the sides of the pendants will also have that shimmer. I've left two pendants to put this light pink mica in, and this would be very light pink if it's got white resin poured on the back of it, so it's probably not going to be a vibrant colour, which is good. That's what I want. I want it to be subtle, so the heart I thought would be really good with the pink. So PPE about to go on, and mix up some resin, take the sellotape off these ones, and then I'm going to pour, sellotape stuck to the resin there. So yeah, the ones that don't have any mica in are going to get black resin, the others are going to get white. So I'll be back to pour.
I mixed up my black resin first, and then I just carefully poured that into the moulds. I wanted to make sure that I didn't end up with that kind of dished effect on the back where the resin shrunk away. I managed to nail that when I did my celestial moons in a recent video. I basically keep underfilling my mould, so I filled those up as best I could, trying to make sure it wasn't overspilling the sides, and then just again hit the back of the resin with a flame to pop any bubbles. Then I mixed up the white resin and did exactly the same thing, just making sure that I'd filled the moulds as full as they could go without it spilling everywhere.
Hi guys, it's now been over 24 hours since I poured these, so I'm super excited to demold and see what they look like. So I'm just going to get on and do that. Turn them that way around. Whoa. Wow, that's so cool. I was really worried that the abalone shell was kind of moving around, but it's given different depths of shell. Whoa, that's awesome. Oh, I'll bring you down properly for a close look in a second. Let's have a look at one of the white ones. I'm glad I put that mica powder in. I think that looks really pretty. There are a couple of air bubbles, which I totally expected given how much of a nightmare I had getting the shells in there. But I don't think it's too bad. It could be way worse. These are beautiful. So beautiful. Wow. The iridescent colours in these shells are just phenomenal. That pink mica powder is really subtle but very, very beautiful. Let me bring you down to see them up close. Check this out. They're gorgeous. They're so gorgeous. The different colours within the shells. Wow. So that's the black ones. So the white has a subtle shimmer, but those shells are really popping. The odd air bubble, but I don't think they're too bad. That pink is showing up more pink on camera than it looks in the flesh, but again it's a subtle metallic, which I think kind of complements the shell really beautifully. I don't think they would have looked as nice with a flat white. I like the black being a flat shiny black background, but I don't think the white would have looked as good, so I'm really pleased that I put that mica on. They're so pretty. Oh, there's just a tiny bit of sun peeping through so you can really see the colours. Wow. So are these going to be pendants or key rings? I'm going to check out my pinch bale collection and see what I think works on these.
I took my time picking the bales that I thought would work best with the colour and shape of all of these pendants, and just gave them a bit of a squeeze with my jewellery pliers.
So I've gone with silver pinch bales on all of them. I tried a gold one on the white and pink and I just didn't like it. I prefer the silver. I had a couple of small fancy pinch bales for those. How beautiful do they look in the sunshine? Oh, the colours. I'm not a pink person myself, but these are so pretty. I love the black. The black are definitely my favourite, but I like black everything, but I just think it gives you a lovely contrast. I'm just aware that not everybody likes black, so I wanted to do a bit of both. So I think they're absolutely beautiful. They could be turned into key rings, or they could be turned into pendants. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing me make these. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye. Right, that's done. Yes. Yeah, I'm filming. That's okay. What do you want?